Welcome back to the Crude Life Morning Show. Play hard, work hard. Kind of a delayed, tardy edition this morning, but that's okay. It's podcast. You know, we don't have deadlines like I normally do in the radio world, which I have. Oh my God, I have radio shows to get done by tomorrow for my weekend shows. I just realized that in the moment because I looked at my notes and it's Thursday today, March 11th. We're at the Permian Basin Association of Pipeliners annual Cookoff. Shawn Forbes with us, Team Forbes, also OG Directory. How you doing?
I'm good. It smells really good out here. All this barbecue cooking up.
It's better than BO.
Trailers.
Nice.
Yeah, it's better than
normally the oil patch BO.
Yeah, sweating and dirt everywhere and
dirt and oil.
This is nice.
Erin, I cannot recall your last name in the moment.
Wiersma.
What's that?
Wiersma.
Wiersma. Okay. Newly employed, almost employed.
Yes.
About the 98-yard line, folks. So we can't get into the details of things. However, she feels confident enough to talk about the last several weeks, several days, several months, just everything that's gone into the whole...
Maybe the last couple of years.
Like the last year.
The last
in my
year,
life.
there you go. The hoopla of job search, just life itself, dealing with a lot in the industry, and we hope it has a happy ending, right? Is that...
Yes.
That's the end goal, yeah. Erin, how many different companies have you worked for over the last year?
I can't even count. It's just been so quick and painful.
So you've been hopping.
I've been hopping because everything just stopped. So basically a year ago, the company that I worked for filed bankruptcy and went under. So in the middle of a pandemic, oil's crashing to negative, I don't know, I try not to remember, I have to go out on a job search. Fortunately, we had a couple of months where we were able to still be on the payroll until the bankruptcy went over, but that's where it was just in the middle of total chaos. So I had an opportunity to work for a company that was a great company and did the same what I used to do in the fabrication, but when oil crashed to negative something and didn't come back, there's no way anyone can carry a salesperson that's not going to sell something for a year.
Right.
Obviously, no one's going to be buying brand new fabrication until maybe, hopefully, third quarter this year.
Yeah.
Because we're not producing, we're not building, and so.
But it's still important to keep that sales presence and continuity with having that connection with customers too. And so you've brought on a big customer base. You have a huge network of people. You have a lot of customers that just follow you. Regardless of what company you work for. And so for you to come on to a company, it's so valuable. And then, after a month, they get scared and they just let you go. And not only is that devastating to you, but it's detrimental to them and your customer base as well.
Yes. And thank you for saying that. And that's just, and I could see a lot of companies' point of view because once the bankruptcy happened with the previous company, there were a lot of competitors that were ready to offer jobs, wanted to talk to me, but when everything kept crashing painfully, the COVID kept going, it just was not possible. And then I was able to work in the fall for another company, but they transitioned to more industrial, and so that one also, which we tried our best. I mean, it's one of those, you just kind of try to work and see what you can pull off in fourth quarter during a pandemic. And
may I ask a question real quick?
Yes.
Okay, because I find this very fascinating from a different perspective. More from your perspective. Like, if I was in your shoes, I would have a very difficult time because it's a downward spiral. Let's be honest. Like, it is a spiral that has happened where there are things outside of your control, but it directly reflects on you. So now, and the reason I said, you were hopping around, because that was kind of taboo for a long time of resume hoppers or job hoppers. Don't get somebody like that on your team. Well, when you're in a pandemic and a spiral and companies are trying to take chances and just all of a sudden, their door closed. And shit happens, folks. Move on type thing.
Yeah, you take a position with the company with the intention of continuing to work there.
How did you handle that? Because, bringing that passion right out of the gate is when you're on your third time in a year, you almost got to re-strategize how you bring this new passion, because the old enthusiasm isn't working on people, it seems. So I don't know. Am I making any sense here?
No.
No, I'm not. Okay.
Because at one point I was
no,
just
not
like,
at all.
seriously, like the beginning of last year, I was just like, seriously, because then an out of industry company found me on LinkedIn and said, oh, we want an oil and gas salesperson because you know how to hustle, you know how to work hard. And that lasted 2 weeks, and they said, you're expensive. Well, yes. Well, they had a contract that they thought they were going to get. They were oil and gas, and apparently they didn't get it. So that lasted 2 weeks. My tax person, I mean, all of my tax work and she's looking at me like, I'm going to charge you more. But how I reacted to it at the beginning of the
Didn't even think of that whole side of it.
Yeah.
I go, how many W-9s?
W-9s. Here's my stack. Here you go. And she's just looking at me like, yeah, you're going to owe me. But I mean, to kind of joke about it at the beginning when all this happened, like, Shawn and I have talked. I just learned a new tactic. I just would put vodka in my Truly. We would just, we just skipped the whole delight, and we just said, we're just going to go straight for that. But at
Irish coffee. Yep.
Yep. And at one point, you got to get out of your pajamas. You got to go start socializing. You go start figuring it out. And I think that's where maybe a lot of us in sales, I still see a lot of green circles. But if we have that hunter mentality, and I'll take care of my customers, because they'll still follow me. They'll still ask me questions. I'm going to do it.
Right.
And that will guide you to something. I mean, the company that went bankrupt, I still had my customers call because they needed service. And so I felt like with that company, all of us that worked together, we were like this happy little dysfunctional family. And then we all ended up in different foster homes. So I had everyone else that worked with one of our competitors. So I was able to angle and kind of push my customers, like, hey, I need a part for combustor. All right, well, talk to him. He went over to this department. So I was able to kind of still coordinate and stay in contact with my customers, which is going to be really productive now because they're already calling me. So it'll be a great start of 2021.
Yeah, and if they're smart, they'll keep you.
Yes, we are. This is it, because I'm kind of starting to feel like, that poor little pound dog, that little shelter dog that keeps coming back because, I don't know, it peed on the carpet, and then you keep dragging it back to the pound, and hopefully this is the last time I have to be adopted out.
Have you thought about maybe leaving the industry, because oil and gas has been so hard to, land solid jobs?
So here's the other aspect of that is I applied for outside of the industry, and I actually had someone said, you have great qualifications, but once it comes up, you'll leave. I said, no, I want to get out of this. I can't handle the bipolar behavior that goes on. So other industries don't really give us poor little oil and gas refugees a chance. And then
I found that to be true as well. I really did, especially during the 2015 recession. I actually had to, oil and gas, the Crude Life was 20% of my income. I had to go and figure out other ways, from delivering, deadhead type delivery things for people. Hey, I'll pay $100 if you drive this to Jamestown or whatever it is.
Hot shot delivery.
Yeah, hot shot, whatever it is, but for packages for people, and just, creative things because they knew I had time. But I wrote for different industries as well. So because I'm a writer actually by trade. And so what I found though was that people would not hire you full time because you came from the oil and gas industry, because when oil gets back to above $60, you're going to not even put in 2 weeks. That's what someone told me. You're going to leave the minute you get a better job offer. So you found that to be true too, huh?
Yes, I actually had people say that to me.
No, they're very upfront about it.
They're very upfront.
They said, I'm happy they are.
Yes, and they said, you're going to leave. And I said, no, I'm not. And then another...
Like, you don't know me.
Right, that's not my character.
Exactly. And then also they started treating you more as an entry level. You don't know our product. Yeah. So you just start as an entry level, which I'm sorry to say, most of us in oil and gas, we're here for, it is the lifestyle, but it's the money also. I mean, it's up and down and it's around, and it's like dating a bipolar woman. You don't know what mood you're going to get which day. And so some of us
That's
are
why
kind of
that's why I date two of them, and then I just whichever one.
switch up. That's a good idea. Well,
Maybe I'll go to that Mormon religion, right?
Yeah,
okay.
keep it real.
This Catholic one isn't working out.
Just bring them over. But that's kind of how I feel. And so
one
then
for
they
each
want
day of the week. Sorry.
so they want
Just
you to
put that
start.
together, right?
Underwear.
I just put
It's
that
like your
together
underwear,
right
your
now.
Monday
Now you're
underwear, your
working.
Tuesday underwear. Yeah.
Exactly. So that's what I saw was, and then they start you entry level because you may not know the product. You might have years of sales experience or management experience or whoever, because everyone's pretty much out of work. But I mean, even my son struggled, who just graduated last year with college in an engineering position. So it was all around. Everyone has struggled.
How about social media? How you been handling that? I'm glad that there's a hashtag circle now everybody has that's unemployed. At least there's something to, no offense, but it's tough to be unemployed. It's a very embarrassing. It's very
It's depressing.
It's depressing. It makes you feel like shit,
Yeah.
I mean, which is another word for depressing.
And it belittles your purpose. I mean,
But people
have such great skill sets, and when you're not utilizing that, you feel like you're just wasting away.
And there are some people that will look down upon you. And the reason I know this is because I've heard the judgmental statements with my own ears about other people who are unemployed. Not me, when you're sitting around a bunch of catty groups or something like that, and they'll say something. There's male cats too, I mean, so don't give me that look, okay? But you hear the judgmental statements. So when you're in that judgmental group, you just assume they're saying it about you. At least I do. So how did you deal with social media on that? I mean, was it hard? Did you care?
I think
Is it too hard to talk about?
Not really, because it kind of became kind of a group. I mean, if you look at LinkedIn, I mean, half of the people have a circle.
Yeah.
And I think that was a really good idea that they brought that out. And a lot of people, once I put that circle up the last time, I had tons of people just message me, hey, call this, hey, send me over your resume, I'm going to send it here. And so I can tell this time, being back in the unemployment line, it was a lot shorter than the last time, and things are building up. I've had several interviews. I've made it to 2 to 3 final interviews, and so a lot of movement in the 6 to 7 weeks, and so a lot of them were referred. And so I see a lot of movement. I see a lot of people. I saw it as a positive. I see everyone trying to really rally together because a lot of the people that I know who are employed, some of my really good friends that are employed, they're terrified that if it doesn't turn around, how long are they going to keep me?
Right.
I mean,
and a good friend of ours, she's been in sales and she's gotten 3 pay cuts now. And so I'm like
3 pay cuts?
3 pay cuts.
So we interviewed somebody the other day who was talking about the number one complaint they're hearing is that they're getting laid off and then they get offered their job back, but it's at more
A fraction of the
no, but like
price.
less than 50%.
Yes.
Like it's a substantial cut, like from 6 figures down to like 40 grand. Something like that. And so it's not to belittle 40 grand a year. It's just to say the percentage cut of what it is very sticker shock. It's just a sticker shock. And, I don't want to dwell on that too much because that's kind of a touchy subject for a lot of people. But
well, it is. But I think companies right now are taking advantage of the people that are available in the job market
So
right
I
now,
wanna
and thinking those people are going to be desperate so they can lowball them with
agree,
a lower
and
salary. But in turn, those people are going to become bitter because they're not being paid their value.
I'm bitter already.
Yes.
And I want to, and I'm not quite there. I'm more bit. I'm getting bitter. And these circles, right? I really did like the circles for the people looking for work. I really did like that because that gave a group of individuals
A sense of unity, too.
that needed it, that really need it.
Right, because if you'd see that circle, I'd go, oh, Erin, she's looking for work. And then as I see jobs become available, forward them to her.
Right,
And
exactly.
So it's like, let's all help each other.
When I saw these companies start coming out with the circle hashtag looking
ready
to
for
hire.
Work? Ready for work? Oh, yeah.
No, looking to hire.
Okay.
Please stop. Please stop. You're taking it away from the people who need work.
Yeah.
you're diminishing what they had power of before. Instead of putting that on there and taking the time to create that circle, go hire that person. Go hire the person that's looking for work. Don't brag that you're looking for it's oh, we're good. Hey, thanks, man. That's what happens here at the Permian Basin Association of Pipeliners annual cook-off here is they've got what would you call that? In the restaurant business, we call that like a host or an expediter. Something like that. They're just making
He's
a gopher.
a volunteer, and hey, whatever needs to be done,
making
I'm
sure
here.
everything's okay.
I'm your guy.
But I don't want to get too controversial with this statement. But what I do want to do is point out that I felt like they were trying to piggyback off the momentum of the success of the looking for work by saying, "Hey, look, we're hiring." Yeah, a lot of you guys are hiring at $9 an hour when you were paying $40 an hour. So that's another problem I have with that is they're trying to disguise their guilt, if that makes sense. I'm a business owner, so I could have done it too.
Sure.
We didn't get any government money, and we've brought on 2 new people because we knew we had to grow. So I'm making less money. I'm reinvesting in myself and in my product. And then we're creating relationships and trying to figure out how to figure out creative ways to do strength in numbers, because it's hard to move to the next level when you don't get the big government contract or whatever the case is. So, okay, there's 2 rants there. But I don't know what you guys are thinking about the circles and things. I think it should be just for the people looking for work, because then it's kind of theirs.
Right.
Anyway, so.
I've seen that looking to hire. So I've had several requests to LinkedIn. And so if they do have the circle to hire, I will notice it a little bit more. I mean, that's the only thing I've kind of noticed where, they're hiring.
Gives job seekers.
As job seekers.
Kind of
so
a beacon of a light. To,
kind of like,
look over here.
Hey, they might be hiring. Maybe I'll pay attention to this request. And so I'm neutral on it. It doesn't really bother me.
What advice would you give for people who would have been in the job hunt flip-flop for a while now? I mean, as far as, your perseverance and, your strength, you have to stay strong, in order to get through it all. But what advice would you give others?
I think what worked for me, I was just trying to think about that. And it's also something because my son has been working for a year to get a job. He just graduated from college in an engineering position, and he didn't have any background. Well, where did all the other engineers that were laid off in oil and gas go? Out into what I call the civil world. So both him and I have discussed how he's done it and how I've done it, and he will be employed April 1st. And so when he gets his formal, yay! So we're both rocking it now. But you really have to just know that every time you hit that button on an email or you apply, my philosophy was I don't have a chance in hell of being pulled. And I did get pulled several times when I was like, oh, really? And so trying to change out like the basics, change out your resume, which is daunting and annoying, or try to find a connection. Like I found that people were willing, hey, we connected in 2017 off of LinkedIn. I think we said hi once. I just applied for your company. Can you help me out? And on several of them, finding those people and saying, here's my resume, push it in front of someone. You have to advocate. You have to
network.
To network and advocate. You have to push. And if you have to call the person, and if you have to call them and say, hey, I know you have my resume because I've cyber stalked you and I found your house and I put it underneath your mat, or
so that level of advocate.
There's one that
I was going to ask you, what level do you go to?
Until the protective order is signed.
Okay, because for me, I do 3 calls, 3 email. Once I reach 3, that's it for me, because I think technically as a male I can get sued for harassment.
Stalkerish.
Exactly.
It depends. If I can talk to them, there's a company that I've been persistent with, and we've talked. They haven't decided where they're putting the position, and so I'll hit them up every once in a while, and they'll talk to me, and I'll hit an email. I'll just hit back an email. Hey, I'm just emailing you so that this pops up and you remember me. I mean, especially if you're in sales, bring out that personality. That's how you've stalked that person, walked in and got a solid sale. Sell yourself. And
Yeah.
and you can't stop or just, I mean, I contemplated last summer moving in with my parents and just paddleboarding every day. That sounded really good. And at
Is
moment,
that still available? I'll do that.
okay, you can come over. Yeah.
Mom, Dad, say this guy I met down in the desert, he's going to move in with you.
Yeah,
He's just going to paddleboard. Don't worry about him.
It'll be perfect. And like, I was legitimately thinking this would have been a lot easier and a lot more fun to hang out with my parents. And
But
and if you knew my parents,
the paddleboard podcast.
the paddleboard,
All of our podcasts are on the paddleboard, and when we fall over, it's done.
yes.
I mean, I'll have my hand line, fishing line.
It's so fun. Anyway,
At
sorry.
the same time.
Perfect. But yeah, and if you knew my parents, bless their heart, you would understand that they're great. But would you want to move back in with your parents? I was almost at that point. I'm like,
No,
this will
right.
be all right.
That's not a proud moment in any adult's life.
No.
No.
My kid wouldn't let me move in with him. And then the other one, he's on a controlled base, so I can't move in with him. So.
One of my favorite moments, we were at this dinner party or whatever it was. This guy had recently moved in with his parents. It was 10 years ago, during that 09-10 recession or whatever. And he had to, and he was probably 38. Okay, 38 years old, got to move home with your parents. Okay, in the last year you've gotten divorced. You got to move. I mean, you're a cliche of just sad sack, right? And I totally lost my train of thought. Gosh darn it.
Well, I was going to rephrase it that I have to move in and care for my parents.
Oh, that's what it was. So anyway,
Yeah.
at the dinner party, he said he had to move home, and that was the end of his sentence, right? And the person he was talking to said, "Oh, are your parents ill?" That was like the first thing. So apparently that's the only acceptable way you can move back in with your parents, is that if you're going to take care of them.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah, so anyway.
That's how I was going to phrase it. I need to move in and take care of my parents, which I do need to kind of, yes, a little bit, make sure that my mom doesn't kill my dad. So.
Yeah.
Sorry, Shawn was taking her blazer, and she goes from sexy to sophisticated very quickly, so it distracts me. And
Well, the weather, it's going from me,
Erin's-
I'm always cold, so it's going cold, hot. So I'm taking off my clothes and putting my clothes back on. So.
Erin's wearing a tank top, and when the light catches her just right, just stops me in my tracks, and so it's tough day for me. Beautiful women here at the Permian Basin Association of Pipeliners annual Cookoff. So let's kind of wrap up this segment a little bit. You mentioned advice. How can people get in touch with you? And you can't mention which company that you're almost employed with, but let's say that they want to find out more, what you're going to be doing, and just kind of network and get involved.
I think LinkedIn would
LinkedIn?
be
Okay.
Yeah, LinkedIn, find me, hit me up, send a little message. I usually accept everyone.
Spell your last name.
It's Wiersma.
Erin, Erin.
Yes.
Erin Wiersma.
Erin Wiersma.
German.
Danish.
Okay. All right. Close enough.
It's
Not
my
even-
kid's name.
Oh, it is.
Yes.
Good to see you, Erin. I'm glad you're here today.
I know. I'm glad I drove 10 and a half hours to hang out with you.
So you're out of Colorado, aren't you?
Yes.
Which part of Colorado?
Outside of Erie, but I was born and raised in Roosevelt, Utah, so the Green River Basin.
I apologize for my Mormon jokes now. That's right.
No,
Okay. Boy.
that's all right.
It's okay. I've never gone through a segment without offending someone, so it's
Oh,
just
no, I'm not offended at all. It's funny. I can find you a couple wives, and we can help you out with that.
Wait, before we go, I want to mention Erin. So Erin's history in the oil and gas industry doesn't start and end with sales. Erin was an actual field hand. So
Yes.
Erin gets down and dirty and actually does field work herself. I think you're going to do a flowback job here,
Oh,
or just did one,
I just went and did
or a water transfer job. Sorry.
I helped a friend out, and I did a water transfer job, and I've dabbled in flowback. I thought I was pretty amazing with my 6-pound hammer. I'm sure I was humorous to my coworkers, but this is where I can get this line.
How about a
Are you ready?
40-foot tape measure? We have one here today.
Yeah.
So I think we're going to measure a few things.
I want to go measure some ribs. That's what I'm going to do
measure some
during the
ribs.
break. I'm going to measure some ribs, and we'll throw them up on LinkedIn to see how long these
How
slabs
long
of
the
ribs
ribs
are.
are.
Should we measure who's got the longest ribs here?
Yes.
Okay, you can do that. That's
like,
too much work.
Like the ones that they're cooking or in our bodies?
Oh!
Let's do
Oh! Well, let's not go too far south of the equator. All right.
Some big boys here.
We'll be back, folks.